fireworks and old people.
Welcome back to the Kieran Show. My name's Kieran, his name is Kieran, and we are doing something slightly different this week.
The old Kieran Show.
The old Kieran Show. The old
show.
Putting the old world to rights. That's what
Show
we're
old
doing.
there.
We could keep going, but you'd only be...
The show old.
We should probably stop. But yes, we are covering Old World in this video, which has never been done. It has, but we sort of discontinued it. We vowed never to do Old World. And
then they started vibing.
And then, yeah, they're cooking. They're cooking all of a sudden.
We're not, just to preface, we're not covering Old World as... We aren't full-time or anything. If we were to do another game system alongside 40k, at the moment, it would be Old World, I think. Because it's so different to 40k that it feels refreshing. But given that we both have full-time jobs and our own personal hobby, time kind of doesn't exist as well as YouTube anymore. Yeah.
So this video will serve as a bit of a personal...
As a middle finger to all of that.
Yeah, basically. But in like it's still... This is a positive video. I tried something new. I pushed myself out of the comfort zone. And
did they buy you dinner first?
Yeah, they were very, very kind. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about, obviously, the Grand Cathay army that I built, painted, took to an event, played in an event, which was very, very exciting and
sorry
terrifying.
For everybody you played.
Yes, we will get on to the experience as a whole, but I wanted this video to not only just be an army showcase and be like, wow, look at all these things I did, but ultimately an outsider looking into a game system that is starting to boom quite considerably. So with Old World, obviously we've seen some very, very nice new models with brand new Cathay again, twice in a year, unheard of. Chaos Marauders, we're bound to get some very, very nice kits next year as well. It's been a very interesting transition over the last 3 years, and when Cathay first came out, I was like, oh my goodness me, I think I'm in. I have been playing Total War for a good couple of years now.
I never liked it.
It's not your vibe, and I'm really surprised.
More of a Dawn of War. I like the instant reaction.
Really?
Whereas when I played Total War, I was getting attacked by things. I was like trying to send my troops over. But I think in actuality, what I was asking them to do is march across the whole country. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, you've got. See, I am a real sucker for like a long haul RPG. So it's like my bread and butter. I think when I first started playing Total War 3, Cathay were like, oh my god, like we've got this really sweet, like Eastern inspired faction with like dragons and terracotta sentinels and balloons, sky junks or whatever you want to call them. So I was like, this is great. When I saw that Miao Ying model, I was like, I'm all the way in. Like, I'm buying square bases, I'm painting things on tiny squares, we'll just have to do it. And I think Old World was certainly the door to that. And what I found really interesting with Old World in comparison to Age of Sigmar, and I think we've made this comparison before with that sort of 40k versus AOS argument, is the lore investment. So
there's just more.
Well, there's just some from my experience. Like I think from playing Total War, you obviously know these characters. The Old World has been a fantasy setting with Warhammer Fantasy Battles for a long time. There's all of these characters that you are invested in and a story that you really like as well, which has been really exciting to have that as like a bit of an emotional draw, which I don't think you get with Age of Sigmar.
Well, no, it's just 40k light.
40k light, there it is, confirmed. But yeah, so having that and inspiration as well, I think to jump in and paint these brand new models as well was brilliant. Obviously with the brand new Cathay range, they look very, very, very good in comparison to the 20, 30-year-old plus minis that the Old World, sort of firmly encompasses for the majority of its
catalogue. Old being the word.
Old being the word.
Well, looking at those Bretonnian knights.
Yeah, they're not phenomenal. They're not phenomenal at all.
Looking at those, most of the Tomb King range.
Yeah, it's what's interesting with Tomb Kings actually is that they had, and Bretonnian in fairness, like they had such amazing launch models, but just seeing them next to the old ones is awful. So like it's
been the same with all of the Old World releases. It's like, here's this cool new thing. Here's some old stuff we found down the back of James Workshop's chair.
I think where Cathay shines and where the other factions really don't is like the real difference in miniature quality. I think even with Bretonnian and Tomb Kings, when they first launched, I think seeing that sort of like Royal Pegasus and like the Knights on Foot and stuff, compared to the old Pegasus Knights, the difference is truly heinous. Like, there is a very clear upgrade here.
Well, it's like the zombie dragon compared to just the normal skeletons.
Oh, the Tomb Guard and stuff. Oh, great.
I think the best way to describe Old World at the moment is the juxtaposition world.
The juxtaposition world.
You've got really new stuff, really old stuff.
Yeah, painting Cathay felt like I was cheating, just by painting like the first like brand new army. But at the same time, as I mentioned, like I'd love playing them on Old World and Total War for such a long time that I was like, don't care, jumping in, let's have some fun. Unfortunately,
You're not done.
well, there's that. There's obviously like loads of brand new ones with like the peasant levy and the gunners and some other really cool stuff as well, which is great. Wasn't expecting it so soon, which is slightly disappointing.
I mean, two sets of miniatures launching in one edition is unheard of for Games Workshop.
well,
You're not normally one and done, aren't you?
Well, it's not just an edition either. It's within 6 months of one another.
It's a little odd.
It is odd for sure, but I mean,
Normally you get like a codex or a battle tome or something in the normal like progression for an edition, and all of your things are printed in there. Whereas to get two arcane journals with all this stuff in.
there's been quite a lot, to be fair, since.
I mean,
the
there's two arcane journals for Cathay, isn't there? Is there one for the new one and then one for all the old?
There's about to be another one as well. Yeah, lots of narrative books to include to play lots of different.
What's that?
Armies of
As a
Renown
newbie,
stuff.
then, what? Just on that point, what's the point of an arcane journal then? Is it my codex?
Effectively, but the nice thing with an arcane journal is that it doesn't cost like 40 quid and it isn't redundant immediately. The nice thing with an arcane journal is that it is softback, it's not hardback. It's only got like, I think it's like 50 pages.
It's got pretty pictures in it.
Yeah, it does, but it's all like, it's like essential. There's not loads of fluff and loads of like nonsense in there. You've got like the basic story of what these characters and armies are doing, and then you've got the army rules that you need. I found that it's quite an easy.
It's a good bedtime reading.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's nice and light, which I think is great, and I don't want to be turfing through 200 odd pages. So as an outsider looking in, I was like, this is actually pretty good. However, when I bought my Cathay, I was like, wicked, I'm going to take my time on this, I'm going to really enjoy it, and then made plans to go to a team event at Warhammer World. I don't have an army. I've never played a game.
And you ridiculed me for doing this with Space Wolves for 40k.
Yeah. So, I painted the Cathay in, I think it's just over 3 months.
So what's that, Kieran? You painted another army instead of the thing you were supposed to be painting, which was Thousand Suns. Oh no, what a shame.
No, you don't understand. I painted Cathay because you painted Thousand Sun, because you painted Space Wolves. But yeah, no, so I was like, paint, go for it. So suddenly I was invested in this world. I had a plan, and I needed to learn and immerse myself in a lot of other content, I suppose. So I had a bit of a gear change, and I wasn't watching Luton, and I wasn't watching Paul Hammer anymore. I was watching things like the Square Base Show, and I was watching.
I'm still watching you guys. Don't worry.
And I was watching the Tabletop Tactics How to Play Old World video like a million times, and just like the numbers, they still don't make any sense. And I think for me jumping in, Mountains Miniatures as well in the US is another great one. But yeah, so jumping in and finding all of these new avenues of content was quite daunting, I suppose. I think 40k has got to a point now where it's quite easy to follow. I think it's like all of the sort of core keywords and stuff are very much the same.
Well, you're just at the end of an edition, whereas this was the draw for me for Old World, is that it's so different to 40k that I'd feel like I was learning something new. I mean, like, obviously we mentioned that joke that Age of Sigmar is 40k light. I mean, it's not. It's its own world and everything. But the rules for me they're too similar that at the moment it doesn't feel like I prefer this setting for 40k.
Yeah.
So to then go and play the Sigmar version of a very similar rule set, I think it just doesn't break the cycle enough for me, which is why I'm mildly interested in Old World.
I think honestly, like it is brutally different, and I think in many ways it's like going back to older editions of 40k. Like I understand that you've got a very different system with like rank and file, and movement is obviously very different, but that granularity is there, and I think with finding these other creators and obviously planning for this event that I didn't know anything about really. I just went, what works, what looks cool, what's the minimum model count? And I just like...
How many trays?
I was like, please. I was looking at all these squares, like, what do they all mean? But yeah, so that granularity, I think, was such a huge thing for me. And it was just like, you can have odd, even, whatever, however many things you want in a unit, so long as they rank up and they fit the rule set. I think that was really strong. Looking at things like magic items, upgrades, whether you want a musician, a banner, a chieftain, whatever, in each of these units. There was like suddenly like a very high ceiling, but also it means that you come against very different armies. Like I don't think I saw. I think well, I don't want to lie. At this event that I went to, all of the other Cathay armies had things like double balloons, double Shugengan generals, double or even triple cannons, and I was like, ugh. But I knew that was going to be the Cathay list that people run because...
You mean you didn't take a Sky Lantern?
I didn't take a Sky Lantern, no. So Sky Lanterns I think are brilliant, they look brilliant, and I would...
Flimsy as hell.
Yeah, how you transport one, I don't know. But I also know from watching all this content that I've been subjected to, that they are absolutely busted as all hell. So I was like, I won't take those purely because I wanted to run like a kind of fun thematic list.
It's also transporting them.
Well, I suppose that too, but I mean, the problem I had is I had 3 behemoths in Miao Ying and 2 Jade Sentinels. So transporting those, I was like, oh no, I've made a horrible mistake. But yeah, no, it ended up just being like a really fun list instead, which I thoroughly enjoyed, which was really cool. But so obviously with that list building process, I think I had to learn obviously like a whole new rule set, and it was very basic. And I was like, movement, strategy phase, how does fighting work? What the hell is fallback on good order? All of these keywords and stuff was very like.
What about your stratagems?
Oh, no CP, no strats. There are so the majority of your units, as in like all of your core troops, have 1 attack and 1 wound. So it's not like super like indulgent with dice rolling.
You mean there's no armor of contempt?
No armor of contempt. None of that rubbish.
Not interested.
Oh, so I don't know. For me, it was like a total breath of fresh air. You don't need to turn up with like 40 million dice. You have templates. You have scatter dice. You can probably get away with 20. You don't even need more than that, which I thought was honestly really, really lovely. Yeah, and I was trying to learn this rule set, and then unfortunately, with trying to learn a rule set, I finished painting the last model, which was the Miao Ying dragon form, on the day before the event. So I'd spent all of that time painting this army, and I didn't have any games.
And you ridiculed me for painting a Space Wolves army, not playing it until we went away with it. At least that was for a game system I mildly understand.
Yes. Yeah. So you knew how to play 40k, you knew sort of what Space Wolves did, and you went away to an event. And you still managed to win a game, which is good.
Yeah, and worked it out as we went. Whereas you were like, new game system, new army,
Let's
new
go.
terminology.
Just jump in.
Sink or swim!
Yeah, and it definitely felt like that. So we arrived really late on the Friday night, so I managed like maybe an hour, if that, of talking of how Old World exists. I then was ridiculed almost immediately with how technically advanced Cathay are as an army. I thought you pick spells for your magic casters. That's not how that works. You pick a class of spells. For example, you could pick high magic, battle magic, elementalism, sort of thing. And then you have 6 cards, and at the beginning of each game, you roll 4 dice. And for the numbers that are allocated on your dice, those are the spells you pick. And you get to re-roll doubles or whatever. So you get to... So every game is different. So you have these like crazy volatile spellcasters that have different spells every game.
That's kind of cool.
I thought it was sick. Absolutely cool. And Miao Ying, because she's a level 4 caster or whatever and can choose whatever the hell she wants effectively, you can sort of manipulate those spells that you get, right? So I did really, really enjoy that, which loads me into game 1 with this brand new army that I've painted. Really proud of it. Turned up the game, and my opponent was brilliant. And he said, "This looks great. How much Old World have you played?" And I said, "Well,
all of it.
This is my first game." And he went, "What do you mean?"
It was like, sorry, I've just paid 50 quid to come and play against a newbie and teach him how to play.
Yeah, effectively.
Did you at least buy him a beer?
No, he won. That was enough. But yeah, so I think I was really, really, really lucky to have all of the opponents that I did at this event, because I think they all took into consideration that I was new, and I was obviously playing this game for the first time. And to be honest, I think they're all just gassed to see more people playing Old World, which I thought was so nice. And I thought, we've obviously spoken off camera, like if somebody was playing in a 40k event and went, by the way, this is my first ever game, I'd probably be like, huh? But these guys were really, really accommodating and very, very lovely indeed. So played 2 games at this point, lost both. One of them considerably more than the other, but starting to get to grips with the rules, and the list that I built starts to make sense as to like pairings are concerned. So like my Jade Sentinels, which I thought were going to be like these massive tanky terracotta dudes just shooting magic all the time, turns out they're kind of hard to shift. So they're like toughness 6, 6 wounds, but yeah, they just stick around for a long time. So I was just throwing them at stuff. And then all of my casters that have got things like Ring of Jet, turns out are unbelievable at killing dragons. So I just went dragon hunting from 3rd game onwards. I went, oh, this is how the game works. And then I won 2 on the bounce. So I turned up to this event, not having played a single game, with an army that I just sort of cooked together and went, this is sick, let's go. And suddenly I'm 2-2. Which feels a bit disrespectful at this point.
A bit
disrespectful. I was like, yeah, it's not like I was walking around Warhammer World being like, you guys suck.
Walking around like...
Obviously super obnoxious. And then the last game of the event was a Cathay mirror match.
And did you get schooled? Go learn today.
So, obviously without sort of elaborating on how the point scoring system works, I scored 400 points. My opponent scored 2,500. I got absolutely obliterated. That was double cannons, Miao Ying, double Sky Lanterns, triple Ring of Jet, 2 blobs of Celestial Guard. I just got... You've turned up to this event and you don't even know how to play your own army? It was very much a see you in school. And I got absolutely obliterated. Absolutely obliterated. It's so much so, at turn 3, I went, I don't know, I've got 3 things on the board. I don't think this is looking real good.
Can we just stop and go around the shop?
Yeah, so I was just like, so finished on turn 3, but obviously 5 like written, 4.5 amazing games of Old World. The last one was very much a don't ever come back here, you filthy scrub. But honestly, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The rule set is solid. The whole game can change at the swing of a dice. I really thought it was sensational. And the way that movement works, the way that the army composition works, every single list, minus Cathay, was different in there. The hobbyist, I think, was great considering the models that you have to work with. And especially around things like dragons and mounts and stuff. There's a lot of Age of Sigmar models that have moved across. In
replace of the old miniatures.
Yeah, and you know, it's the same with 40k really. Like, you don't just sit within the remit of 40k. You can use some other game systems that GW provide, and it works exactly the same thing with Old World. You just have to be a bit creative with basing and stuff, but I just thought it was absolutely wicked, wonderful. I think what could be quite fun is if I made up like a little 1,000 point Chaos Dwarf list and I taught you how to play. Maybe. That's very much like a shrug. But yeah, no, thanks so much for watching. I understand this is very different to what we normally do, but yeah, I just hope that you've enjoyed it. Anything from you?
The new Old World.
There it is. Peace and love. Goodbye.